What looks like rejection often feels like a door slammed in your face. It stings, it lingers, and it makes you question your worth. But Stoicism teaches something deeper. Not everything that appears as rejection is truly a loss. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is redirection. And often, it is life quietly guiding you towards something more aligned with who you are becoming. When you begin to see rejection differently, you take back control. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift changes everything. It moves you from a place of helplessness to a place of power. Because the truth is, the world is not always working against you. In many cases, it is refining you. Think about how often people misinterpret silence, distance, or missed opportunities as personal failure. Someone doesn't respond, and you assume you're not good enough. You don't get the job, and you believe you're not capable. But Stoicism reminds us that external events do not define our value. They simply exist. Your interpretation is what gives them meaning. Rejection can be a filter. It removes what isn't meant for you. It strips away illusions and forces clarity. Without it, you might settle for less, chase the wrong paths, or attach yourself to things that were never right for you in the first place. What feels like a setback is often a quiet correction. There is strength in stepping back and observing your emotions without being controlled by them. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself if this, rejection, is truly about you, or if it's simply a mismatch of timing, perspective, or circumstance. More often than not, it's the latter. You are not entitled to every opportunity, every person, or every outcome. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually freeing. Because once you accept that, you stop clinging so tightly. You become more adaptable, more resilient, and far less shaken by temporary disappointments. Growth rarely comes from comfort. It comes from friction, from challenge, from moments that force you to rethink your approach. Rejection, in this sense, is one of life's most effective teachers. It pushes you to improve, to evolve, and to develop a stronger sense of self. There are moments when rejection is simply a delay. What you wanted may still come, but not yet. You may need more experience, more discipline, or a different mindset. Instead of rushing the process, trust that preparation is happening beneath the surface. Other times, rejection is a clear sign to change direction. And that's okay. Not every path you start on is meant to be finished. Stoicism encourages flexibility. It teaches you to adjust without losing your composure, to pivot without losing your purpose. You must also understand that people's decisions are shaped by their own beliefs, experiences, and limitations. When someone rejects you, it often says more about them than it does about you. Their perception is not an absolute truth. Holding on to rejection can be more damaging than the rejection itself. When you replay it in your mind, you give it power it doesn't deserve. Let it pass. Learn from it, but don't live in it. Your future should not be dictated by a single moment. There is quiet confidence in accepting what you cannot control. You don't need to force acceptance, approval, or validation. The more you chase it, the more it slips away. Instead, focus on becoming the kind of person who doesn't depend on it. When you detach from outcomes, you become unstoppable. You take action because it aligns with your values, not because you are guaranteed success. This mindset makes rejection less threatening. It becomes just another part of the journey. Resilience is built in moments like these. Every time you face rejection and choose to keep going, you strengthen your character. You prove to yourself that you are capable of enduring discomfort and still moving forward. There is also wisdom in knowing when to walk away. Not every door is worth knocking on twice. Not every opportunity deserves your energy. Sometimes, rejection is the clarity you needed to stop wasting your time. Imagine looking back at your life and realizing that the things you once cried over were actually the things that saved you. That perspective is powerful. It reminds you that life often makes sense in hindsight, even when it feels confusing in the moment. You are not defined by who chooses you or who doesn't. Your worth is not negotiable. It does not fluctuate based on external approval. It remains constant, regardless of circumstances. The Stoic mindset teaches patience. It teaches acceptance. And most importantly, it teaches you to focus on what is within your control. Your thoughts, your actions, and your responses are yours to master. So the next time you face rejection, pause, breathe, and remind yourself that this moment does not determine your future. It is simply a chapter, not the entire story. There is something better ahead, even if you can't see it yet. Trust the process. Trust your growth. And trust that what is meant for you will not require you to chase it endlessly. If this message resonates with you, take it as a sign to shift your perspective today. Stop fearing rejection and start understanding it. That change alone can transform your entire life. Subscribe to this channel for more powerful Stoic insights that will help you build resilience, clarity, and inner strength. Your journey to becoming emotionally unshakable starts here. Rejection often reveals where your expectations were quietly controlling your happiness. When you expect a certain outcome, you attach your peace to it. And when it doesn't happen, it feels like something has been taken from you. But in reality, nothing was ever yours to begin with. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from within, not from outcomes. There is a hidden freedom in letting go of expectations. When you stop demanding that life unfold a certain way, you become more open, more present, and far less fragile. You start to see every experience, even rejection, as part of a larger process rather than a personal attack. Consider how many successful people faced repeated rejection before finding their path. What if they had stopped at the first sign of resistance? What if they had believed that rejection meant they were not good enough? Their stories remind us that rejection is often part of the preparation, not the conclusion. Sometimes, rejection is simply a test of how badly you want something. It forces you to decide whether you're willing to keep going despite discomfort. And in that decision, you discover your true level of commitment. At the same time, wisdom lies in knowing the difference between persistence and stubbornness. Stoicism is not about blindly chasing every goal. It is about aligning your efforts with reason and purpose. If something consistently pushes you away, it may be time to reflect, not force. Your mind can either be your greatest ally or your biggest enemy in moments of rejection. If you allow negative thoughts to take over, you will spiral into doubt and insecurity. But if you train your mind to remain calm and objective, you maintain control. Rejection can also be an opportunity to refine your skills. Instead of taking it personally, take it seriously. Ask yourself what you can improve. Growth begins the moment you shift from blame to responsibility. There is dignity in accepting rejection without bitterness. You don't need to react with anger or resentment. You can simply acknowledge what happened and move forward with grace. That kind of composure sets you apart. Not everyone will understand your path. Not everyone will see your value. And that's perfectly fine. You are not here to be accepted by everyone. You are here to become who you are meant to be. When you internalize this, rejection loses its sting. It becomes less about being denied and more about being directed. It points you toward environments, people, and opportunities that are better suited for you. The Stoic approach is not to avoid rejection, but to be unaffected by it. You don't run from it. You don't fear it. You simply accept it as part of life's natural flow. There is also strength in silence after rejection. You don't need to explain yourself or prove your worth. Your actions over time will speak louder than any words ever could. As you continue your journey, remember that every rejection carries a lesson. Some lessons are obvious, while others take time to reveal themselves. Be patient enough to uncover them. You are constantly evolving. What was not right for you yesterday may not even matter tomorrow. And what rejected you today may seem insignificant in the future. Keep your focus on what you can control. Improve your habits. Strengthen your discipline. Sharpen your mindset. These are the things that truly determine your success. The more you invest in yourself, the less you depend on external validation. And when you reach that point, rejection becomes almost irrelevant. It no longer has the power to shake you. There will always be doors that don't open. But there will also be doors you never expected to find. Stay open to those possibilities. Life often rewards those who remain patient and persistent. Rejection is not the end of your story. It is just a moment within it. And like all moments, it will pass. What matters is how you respond. Choose strength over self-doubt. Choose growth over frustration. Choose perspective over pain. These choices define your path. If you found value in this message, make sure you subscribe to this channel. There is so much more to learn, and your journey toward a stronger, more resilient mindset is just beginning. Rejection has a way of revealing the truth you may have been avoiding. It strips away comfort and forces you to confront reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. And while that can feel harsh, it is also incredibly valuable. Because clarity, even when painful, is far more useful than illusion. When you stop resisting rejection, you begin to learn from it more effectively. Resistance creates frustration, but acceptance creates understanding. The moment you accept what has happened, you free your mind to focus on what comes next. There is power in realizing that you can handle rejection. Many people fear it so deeply that they avoid taking action altogether. They never apply, never try, never risk. But in doing so, they reject themselves before the world ever has a chance to. Courage is not the absence of rejection. It is the willingness to face it. Every time you put yourself out there, you are choosing growth over comfort. And that choice alone puts you ahead of most people. Rejection can also sharpen your priorities. It forces you to ask what truly matters. Is this goal worth the struggle? Is this path aligned with who you are? These questions bring focus and direction. Sometimes, what feels like rejection is simply life creating space. Space for something better. Space for growth. Space for new opportunities that you wouldn't have noticed if everything had gone according to plan. You must be careful not to tie your identity to outcomes. When you do, every rejection feels like a personal attack. But when you separate who you are from what happens to you, you remain steady, no matter the result. There is a quiet strength in moving forward without needing closure. Not every rejection will come with an explanation. Not every door will tell you why it closed. And that's okay. You don't need all the answers to keep going. The Stoic mindset teaches you to rely on your inner foundation. External events will always change, but your character can remain constant. That stability is what keeps you grounded in uncertain moments. You are allowed to feel disappointment. Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions. It is about not being controlled by them. Feel what you feel, but don't let it dictate your actions. Rejection can also teach humility. It reminds you that you are still growing, still learning, still improving. And that mindset keeps you open to progress. Every time you face rejection and continue forward, you build momentum. Small steps, taken consistently, lead to significant change over time. What seems like a setback today can become the foundation of your future success. There is wisdom in trusting the timing of your life. Not everything is meant to happen when you want it to. Some things require patience, preparation, and persistence. You may not see the purpose of a rejection right now. But that doesn't mean there isn't one. Often, the meaning becomes clear only after time has passed. Instead of asking why something didn't work out, ask what you can do next. Forward movement is more important than dwelling on the past. Rejection is temporary, but the lessons it teaches can last a lifetime. And those lessons, if applied, can transform your path in ways you never expected. There is no need to rush your journey. Growth takes time. Progress takes effort. And success often comes to those who are willing to endure the process. You are stronger than you think, more capable than you realize, and far more resilient than you've been led to believe. So keep going. Keep learning. Keep improving. And most importantly, keep showing up, even when it's difficult. If this message speaks to you, don't stop here. Subscribe to this channel and continue building a mindset that cannot be shaken by rejection or failure. Your transformation is already in motion. There comes a point where you stop fearing rejection and start expecting it as part of the journey. Not in a negative way, but in a grounded, realistic way. You understand that not everything will go your way, And that's exactly why you prepare your mind to remain steady no matter the outcome. Rejection teaches you discipline. It forces you to keep going even when motivation fades. Anyone can move forward when things are easy. But it takes real strength to continue when doors keep closing. That is where true growth happens. The more you experience rejection, the less personal it becomes. You begin to see patterns, not pain. You recognize that life operates on principles, not emotions. And once you understand those principles, you navigate challenges with more clarity. There is also a sense of independence that comes with embracing rejection. You stop needing constant approval. You stop seeking validation from people who may not even understand your path. And in that independence, you find freedom. Sometimes, rejection is the universe's way of protecting your time and energy. Not every opportunity deserves your effort. Not every connection deserves your attention. What is meant for you will not require you to constantly prove your worth. When you build your life on strong values, rejection cannot shake you. Because your direction is not based on opinions. It is based on purpose. And purpose is far more stable than external validation. You begin to realize that rejection often redirects you towards something more meaningful. Paths you never considered start to open. Opportunities you never imagined begin to appear. And suddenly, what once felt like a loss becomes a turning point. It is important to stay patient during these moments. Growth is not always visible. Progress is not always immediate. But just because you cannot see change does not mean it isn't happening. Your mindset determines how you experience rejection. If you see it as failure, it will weaken you. If you see it as feedback, it will strengthen you. The choice is always yours. There is also power in consistency. Rejection may slow you down, but it should never stop you. Keep showing up. Keep improving. Keep moving forward, even if the progress feels small. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You only need to believe in yourself enough to continue. That quiet confidence will carry you further than any external approval ever could. Over time, you will look back and see that rejection played a crucial role in shaping who you became. It built your resilience. It sharpened your focus. It strengthened your character. And perhaps most importantly, it taught you that your worth was never dependent on acceptance. It was always within you. So don't run from rejection. Don't avoid it. Face it, learn from it, and use it as fuel. Every setback is an opportunity to rise stronger. Keep your mind steady. Keep your actions intentional. And keep your vision clear. The path may not always be smooth, but it is always leading you somewhere. Your journey is unique. Your challenges are part of your story. And your response to rejection is what will define your outcome. If you've made it this far, you already have what it takes. Stay committed. Stay disciplined. And keep pushing forward. Subscribe to this channel for more powerful insights that will help you master your mindset, overcome challenges, and build a life of strength, clarity, and purpose. Rejection, when seen clearly, becomes a form of training. It conditions your mind to detach from immediate outcomes and focus on long-term growth. Instead of reacting emotionally, you begin to respond with intention. That shift is what separates those who remain stuck from those who continue evolving. There is a hidden advantage in being rejected early and often. It builds resilience faster than comfort ever could. When things don't come easily, you develop patience, strategy, and inner strength. These qualities are far more valuable than temporary success. You start to notice that rejection refines your standards. It forces you to become more selective, more aware of where you invest your energy. Not everything deserves your effort, and rejection helps you see that more clearly. At times, rejection exposes weaknesses you need to address. It highlights areas where you can improve, skills you can sharpen, and habits you can change. If you are willing to look honestly, it becomes a powerful tool for self-development. But growth requires humility. You must be willing to accept that you don't have all the answers yet. That willingness to learn is what turns rejection into progress rather than frustration. There is also strength in persistence. Not blind persistence, but thoughtful, intentional effort. You adjust, you learn, and you try again with more clarity than before. That is how real progress is made. As you continue, you will realize that rejection loses its emotional weight. It becomes just another experience, not something that defines you. And when that happens, you operate with a sense of calm that others often lack. You begin to act without fear of judgment. You take opportunities without overthinking. You express yourself without hesitation. Because you understand that rejection is not something to avoid, but something to navigate. This mindset creates confidence. Not loud, attention-seeking confidence, but quiet, unshakable confidence. The kind that comes from knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. Rejection also teaches you to value yourself more deeply. When external approval becomes less important, you start to rely on your own standards. You measure your progress by your effort, not by others' opinions. There will still be moments of doubt. That is natural. But instead of being consumed by them, you acknowledge them and continue moving forward. Doubt becomes something you pass through, not something you stay in. You are constantly becoming. Every experience, every challenge, every rejection is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. And that process is ongoing. It is important to stay grounded in your values. When you know what you stand for, rejection cannot easily shake you. You remain steady because your direction is clear. Over time, you will begin to trust yourself more. You will trust your decisions, your instincts, and your ability to adapt. That trust is one of the most powerful things you can build. Rejection is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to reflect, adjust, and continue. The path forward may change, but your commitment should remain. You don't need perfect conditions to move forward. You don't need guaranteed success. You only need the willingness to keep going despite uncertainty. And as you do, you will discover something important. The things you once feared begin to lose their power. Rejection becomes smaller. Your confidence becomes stronger. Keep your focus on progress, not perfection. Every step you take, no matter how small, moves you forward. And forward is all that matters. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. Even the difficult moments have a role to play. Trust that process, even when it's uncomfortable. If this message continues to resonate with you, make sure you subscribe to this channel. There is so much more to explore, and every step you take toward mastering your mindset brings you closer to the life you're building. At a deeper level, rejection teaches you how to stand alone without feeling lonely. It strengthens your relationship with yourself. When external approval fades, you are left with your own thoughts, your own standards, your own direction. And if you can find peace there, you become truly independent. There is something powerful about no longer needing to be chosen. When you stop waiting for permission, you start creating your own opportunities. You take initiative. You move with intention. And that shift puts you in control of your path. Rejection also builds emotional endurance. Just like the body grows stronger through resistance, the mind grows stronger through challenge. Each experience adds another layer of resilience, making you less reactive and more composed. You begin to notice that many people avoid rejection at all costs. They stay in comfort zones, repeat the same patterns, and limit their potential. But you are choosing a different path. You are choosing growth, even when it is uncomfortable. There is clarity that comes from repeated setbacks. You learn what works and what doesn't. You refine your approach. You eliminate distractions. Over time, your focus becomes sharper and your actions more effective. Sometimes, rejection forces you to slow down and reassess. It gives you the space to think, to plan, and to realign your efforts. Without that pause, you might continue in the wrong direction without realizing it. You must also understand that timing plays a significant role in life. What is not right for you today may become possible later. Rejection does not always mean never. Sometimes it simply means not now. There is strength in patience. Not passive waiting, but active preparation. While you wait, you grow. While you wait, you improve. And when the opportunity comes again, you are ready in a way you were not before. Rejection can also deepen your self-awareness. It forces you to look inward and ask important questions. What do you truly want? What are you willing to work for? What kind of person are you becoming? These questions shape your identity. They guide your decisions. And they help you build a life that is aligned with your values, not just your desires. You will come to realize that rejection is not something to fear, but something to understand. It is part of the structure of life. It creates contrast, direction, and growth. The more you accept this, the more peace you experience. You stop resisting what is natural. You stop fighting what you cannot control. And in that acceptance, you find strength. There is also a sense of confidence that comes from surviving difficult moments. You look back and realize that you made it through situations you once thought you couldn't handle. That realization changes how you see future challenges. You start to trust your ability to endure. You trust that no matter what happens, you will find a way forward. That belief becomes your foundation. Rejection is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every step, every attempt, every setback contributes to the outcome. Remove rejection and you remove growth. So embrace it. Learn from it. Use it as a tool rather than seeing it as an obstacle. The way you interpret rejection will shape your entire journey. Keep your focus on what truly matters. Keep building your character. Keep strengthening your mindset. These are the things that will carry you through any challenge. And remember, you are not defined by moments of rejection. You are defined by how you respond to them. That response is always within your control. If you've stayed with this message, it means you are committed to growth. Don't stop here. Subscribe to this channel and continue learning how to master your mind, overcome challenges, and build a life that is not easily shaken. As you continue to grow, you begin to see rejection with a calmer, clearer mind. It no longer feels like chaos. It feels like information. And when you treat it as information, you can use it to make better decisions moving forward. You stop reacting immediately. Instead, you observe. You analyze. You ask yourself what can be learned, what can be improved, and what should simply be let go. That level of awareness gives you an edge that most people never develop. There is also a quiet maturity that forms within you. You don't need to prove yourself to everyone. You don't need to chase every opportunity. You move with purpose, not desperation. And that makes all the difference. Rejection helps you refine your direction. It pushes you away from paths that don't align with your values and toward ones that do. Even when it feels uncomfortable, it is guiding you closer to where you need to be. You begin to understand that not every no is a loss. Some are necessary boundaries. Some are redirections. And some are simply part of the process of finding what truly fits. There is strength in staying grounded when things don't go your way. You don't lose yourself in frustration. You don't let disappointment control your actions. You remain steady, focused, and committed to your path. Over time, your confidence becomes less dependent on outcomes and more rooted in your effort. You measure success by how consistently you show up, how much you improve, and how well you stay aligned with your values. Rejection also teaches you to respect the journey. It reminds you that progress is not always linear. There will be setbacks, pauses, and unexpected turns. But each one has a role to play. You learn to appreciate the process, not just the result. Because the process is where growth happens. The result is only a moment, but the growth stays with you. There will be times when you feel like giving up. Moments when rejection feels overwhelming. In those moments, remember why you started. Remember what you are working toward. Your purpose is stronger than temporary discomfort. Your vision is bigger than short-term setbacks. Hold on to that, and keep moving forward. Rejection can also teach you resilience in relationships, in work, and in personal goals. It strengthens your ability to handle uncertainty and adapt to change. You begin to realize that life is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about learning how to navigate it with strength and clarity. That is where true growth lies. Every challenge you face is shaping you. Every rejection is preparing you. And every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. There is no need to rush. There is no need to compare your journey to anyone else's. Your path is yours alone, and it is unfolding at its own pace. Stay committed to your growth. Stay focused on your values. And continue to build the mindset that allows you to remain steady in any situation. You are capable of more than you think. And every time you rise after rejection, you prove that to yourself. Keep going. Keep learning. Keep improving. The journey is long, but it is worth it. If you've gained value from this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. There is always more to learn, and your path towards strength, clarity, and resilience is just getting started. At some point, rejection stops being something you endure and becomes something you understand. You no longer see it as an obstacle, but as a natural part of progress. That understanding brings a sense of calm that cannot be easily shaken. You begin to move through life with less fear. Not because rejection disappears, but because your relationship with it changes. You know it will come, and you know you can handle it. That certainty gives you confidence. There is a quiet discipline in continuing your efforts without needing immediate results. You focus on your actions, your consistency, and your growth. The outcome becomes secondary to the process. Rejection also strengthens your ability to stay focused. It removes distractions and forces you to concentrate on what truly matters. Over time, this clarity becomes one of your greatest strengths. You stop chasing everything and start choosing carefully. Your energy becomes more intentional. Your decisions become more aligned with your long-term vision. There is also a sense of patience that develops. You understand that meaningful progress takes time. You are willing to put in the effort without expecting instant rewards. Rejection teaches you to remain steady in uncertainty. Life does not always provide clear answers. But you learn to move forward anyway, trusting your ability to adapt. You begin to value growth over comfort. Instead of avoiding challenges, you seek them out. Because you know that on the other side of difficulty is improvement. There is strength in knowing that your worth is not determined by external outcomes. It is built from within, through your actions, your discipline, and your mindset. You also learn to appreciate the journey itself. Not just the victories, but the lessons, the struggles, and the moments that shape you along the way. Rejection becomes less about what you lost and more about what you gained. Perspective, resilience, clarity. These are things that cannot be taken from you. You start to trust the process more deeply. Even when things don't make sense, you remain committed. Because you know that growth is happening, even if it is not immediately visible. There will always be moments of doubt. But instead of being controlled by them, you acknowledge them and continue forward. That is real strength. Your mindset becomes your greatest asset. It determines how you respond, how you adapt, and how you grow. And with the right mindset, rejection loses its power. You become more focused, more disciplined, and more resilient with each experience. What once felt like a setback now feels like part of your preparation. Keep building that strength. Keep refining your mindset. Keep moving forward with purpose and clarity. Your journey is still unfolding. There is more ahead, more to learn, more to achieve. And every step you take is bringing you closer. If this message continues to resonate with you, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Stay committed to your growth, and continue developing the mindset that will carry you through any challenge. Eventually, you reach a stage where rejection no longer interrupts your progress. It becomes something you move through, not something that stops you. You acknowledge it, you learn from it, and you continue forward without losing momentum. You start to act with a deeper sense of purpose. Your actions are no longer driven by the need to be accepted, but by the desire to improve and grow. That shift makes your efforts more focused and more meaningful. There is a calm confidence that develops when you stop fearing rejection. You take action without overthinking every possible outcome. You trust yourself enough to handle whatever happens next. Rejection also teaches you how to stay grounded when things don't go your way. You don't become overly emotional or lose direction. You remain steady, knowing that one moment does not define your entire journey. You begin to see that progress is built on consistency, not perfection. You don't need everything to go right. You just need to keep moving forward, learning and adjusting along the way. There is strength in being able to detach from results while staying committed to your efforts. You give your best without becoming attached to a specific outcome. That balance is powerful. You also learn to respect your own path. You stop comparing your progress to others. You understand that everyone's journey is different, and yours is unfolding in its own time. Rejection becomes less about what others think and more about what you can improve. It shifts your focus inward, where real growth happens. There is also a sense of freedom that comes with this mindset. You are no longer limited by fear. You are no longer held back by the possibility of failure. You are free to act, to try, and to grow. You start to build a mindset that is resilient by nature. Challenges don't break you. They strengthen you. Setbacks don't stop you. They refine you. Over time, you realize that rejection has played an important role in shaping your character. It has taught you patience, discipline, and perseverance. You become more selective with where you invest your energy. You focus on what aligns with your values and let go of what doesn't. That clarity helps you move forward with purpose. There is no need to chase approval when you are aligned with your goals. You know where you are going, and that direction gives you confidence. You also develop a deeper sense of self-awareness. You understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and the areas where you can improve. Rejection is no longer something you avoid. It is something you use. It becomes part of your strategy for growth. Keep refining your mindset. Keep strengthening your discipline. These are the tools that will carry you forward. Your journey is not defined by how many times you are rejected, but by how many times you choose to continue. That persistence is what leads to success. Stay focused. Stay patient. And keep moving forward, no matter what obstacles appear along the way. If you've found value in this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Continue building your mindset, and keep developing the strength that allows you to rise above any challenge. As you keep moving forward, you begin to notice something subtle but powerful. Rejection no longer carries the same emotional weight it once did. It becomes lighter, easier to process, and quicker to release. What once stayed in your mind for days now passes in moments. You start to trust your ability to recover. No matter what happens, you know you will find your balance again. That trust removes fear and replaces it with quiet confidence. There is also a deeper level of focus that develops. You are less distracted by opinions, less affected by criticism, and more committed to your own path. Your energy is no longer scattered. It is directed with intention. Rejection sharpens your vision. It helps you see what truly matters and what does not. It removes the unnecessary and brings clarity to your priorities. You begin to act with more precision. Every step you take is more thoughtful, more deliberate. You are no longer reacting blindly. You are responding with awareness. There is strength in knowing that setbacks are temporary. No situation lasts forever. And with that understanding, you remain calm even in difficult moments. You also develop a stronger sense of discipline. You continue your efforts regardless of how you feel. You don't wait for motivation. You rely on consistency. Rejection teaches you to stay committed when things are uncertain. It builds your ability to keep going without immediate rewards. That patience becomes one of your greatest advantages. You learn to separate emotion from action. You may feel disappointed, but you still move forward. You may feel uncertain, but you still take the next step. There is a quiet resilience in that. A strength that does not need to be seen or recognized. It is built internally, and it stays with you. Over time, you realize that rejection is not something to overcome. It is something to integrate. It becomes part of your growth, part of your mindset, part of your journey. You stop asking why things didn't work out and start focusing on what you can do next. That forward-thinking approach keeps you progressing. There is also a sense of peace that comes with acceptance. You accept what you cannot control and focus on what you can. That clarity reduces stress and increases effectiveness. You become more adaptable. When one path closes, you find another. When one plan fails, you adjust. Flexibility becomes your strength. Rejection also strengthens your independence. You rely less on external validation and more on your own standards. That independence allows you to move freely. You begin to see challenges as opportunities. Each difficulty becomes a chance to grow, to learn, and to improve. Keep building that mindset. Keep strengthening your resilience. Every experience is contributing to your progress. Your journey is still unfolding, and there is more ahead than behind. Stay focused on where you are going, not where you have been. If this message continues to resonate with you, subscribe to this channel. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep developing the mindset that will carry you through any situation. At a certain point, you realize something most people never fully understand: rejection was never the enemy. Your interpretation of it was. The same event can break one person and build another. The difference is not the event itself, but the mindset behind it. Stoicism teaches you to focus on that inner control, because that is the only place real power exists. When you remove emotional exaggeration from rejection, what remains is simply information. A result. A response. Nothing more. And once you see it clearly, it stops having authority over your confidence. You begin to operate from a stronger internal foundation. Instead of asking, "Did they accept me?" you start asking, "Did I stay true to my values?" That shift quietly transforms your entire direction in life. Rejection also teaches emotional neutrality. Not indifference, but balance. You can acknowledge disappointment without being consumed by it. You can observe failure without attaching identity to it. That is where maturity begins to form. Not when life becomes easy, but when your reactions become stable even when life is not. You also learn that timing is often misunderstood. What feels like a closed door today may simply be a delayed opportunity. But even if it never opens again, the lesson it provides still shapes your growth. There is wisdom in letting things pass without forcing meaning too quickly. Some answers only become clear with distance and time. Patience allows perspective to develop. You start to understand that rejection can be protective. It prevents you from investing energy into situations that are not aligned with your growth. At the moment, it may feel like loss, but later it reveals itself as direction. There is also strength in emotional recovery. You become quicker at returning to stability after disappointment. You don't stay stuck in the setback. You process it, extract value from it, and move forward. Over time, your identity becomes less fragile. You are not defined by acceptance or rejection. You are defined by your consistency, your discipline, and your willingness to keep improving. That kind of identity cannot be easily shaken. You also begin to notice that rejection often comes before growth. It clears space. It removes distractions. It forces evolution. Without it, you might remain comfortable in places you were never meant to stay. So instead of resisting it, you start respecting it. Not because it feels good, but because it contributes to your development. You become more intentional with your effort. You no longer waste energy chasing every outcome. You choose your direction carefully and commit to it fully. And even when things don't work out, you remain steady. Because your confidence is no longer dependent on external validation. It is built on self-trust. Keep strengthening that mindset. Keep refining how you interpret challenges. The way you see rejection determines the strength of your future decisions. And if you're still here, it means you are serious about growth. Subscribe to this channel and continue building a mindset that stays strong even when life says no. At this stage, rejection becomes almost invisible in its emotional impact. Not because life stops presenting it, but because you stop giving it unnecessary meaning. It becomes part of the background of growth, not the center of your attention. You begin to realize that most limits were never external. They were internal assumptions you carried about what rejection meant. Once those assumptions weaken, your confidence naturally expands. There is a quiet shift that happens in how you move through life. You stop hesitating as much. You stop overanalyzing every possible outcome. You act, you learn, you adjust. That cycle becomes natural. Rejection also sharpens your awareness of what truly deserves your energy. You no longer chase validation from places that do not align with your direction. You become more selective, more focused, and more intentional. And with that focus comes clarity. You start recognizing opportunities that were always there, but previously hidden by fear of rejection. Fear narrows vision. Acceptance widens it. You also develop emotional stability. Situations that once disrupted your peace now pass without shaking your foundation. You remain centered, even when outcomes are uncertain. That stability is not something you inherit. It is something you build through experience. Every rejection you survive strengthens it. You begin to trust your own judgment more than external approval. Not out of arrogance, but out of experience. You have seen how often rejection is not a reflection of worth, but a reflection of mismatch, timing, or perspective. There is also freedom in no longer needing everything to go your way. You stop trying to control outcomes you were never meant to control. Instead, you focus on effort, discipline, and consistency. That shift makes your progress more sustainable. Because your motivation is no longer dependent on results. It is grounded in process. Rejection becomes less of a setback and more of a filter. It removes what does not align and reveals what remains. And what remains is often stronger, clearer, and more aligned with your growth. You also learn to detach from ego-driven reactions. Not being chosen no longer feels like personal invalidation. It simply becomes information that guides your next step. Over time, you develop resilience that is quiet but powerful. You don't need to announce it. It shows in how calmly you respond to difficulty. You begin to understand that life is not about avoiding rejection, but about becoming unshaken by it. That is where real strength lies. And as your mindset evolves, your actions follow. You become more consistent, more disciplined, more patient with your progress. You are no longer reacting to life. You are engaging with it deliberately. Keep building on that. Keep refining your perspective. Every rejection you face is another opportunity to strengthen your inner foundation. And if you are still here, it shows you are serious about growth. Subscribe to this channel and continue learning how to turn every setback into strength, clarity, and progress.